like an Australia fresh apple. Number City, Number Life, Radio City, 105.8 FM.
This is Rumin Along, basically like so roti and dal.
How's it going, Chennai? It's a great day today, 42 degrees, and we've got a sultry show in hand.
If someone talks 19 to the dozen and still makes sense, can mouth clever lines without much effort and enunciate words with clarity, he is halfway through the RJ lane.
That's the puja, that's the guru, who's made me anything that I am today.
Okay, well, I really don't know what to speak about myself, but clocking back into the 80s, I'm a little old.
Back to life, back to reality.
Most of you guys who are watching this probably wouldn't have been born when, when I finished my schooling, and that I did in Don Bosco, in Egmore, and every parent at that point of time said, no, you got to be a doctor or an engineer, and so I did engineering. I went to Bangalore and studied engineering, chemical engineering at RV College of Engineering, which also had Anil Kumble as my senior. He was a very intelligent student. I was not at all in that league. But I did it for about 4 years, and then suddenly something just went totally berserk in me. It was when a professor came to class and he lifted a pipe and he said, students, in this pipe there is this much of tension. So I asked him, how did you find out that there was that much of tension, or whatever the readings were? He said, no, this was a law which was written about 100 years back or 200 years back. Something told me that, I was in the wrong place, because it was just the wrong place. So I walked out, much to my family's disgust. Nobody spoke to me for a couple of years. And then in 1990, when television was starting to open up, this was 1991, I got a job from a very wonderful person called Mr. Alphonse Roy and his wife, Radha. And he said, why don't you be a television correspondent? So I asked him, can I get 1,500 rupees to pay my cigarettes and my expenses? He said, yeah, don't worry about that as long as you come for work. So I started off as a television correspondent. I did stories for the India show, way before it was Amul India show. I did stories for the Z Travel show. I did for Surabhi. So I was doing a lot of stories, and then it came to a point that I was getting bored. I get bored very easily, and that's my biggest drawback. So I asked my boss that I needed something more challenging. So he said, why don't you do wildlife? So there I was, sitting on a tree, trying to shoot elephants, tigers, bisons, you name it. And I did it for about 2 to 3 years, till I said that since I had left engineering and I'm doing all this, right now I'm just a 12th standard pass. So let me put this down in put my education down in writing. So I traveled to Melbourne and I studied my film and radio studies in Melbourne. Awesome place, great way of education. It was a great experience, but in that course, which I did for about 2 years, there was an elective subject called radio. And I said, I'm not going to do this subject because radio in India was nothing at all at that point of time. But my professor said, for some reason, that no, you have a good radio-friendly voice and you should be doing this subject and it will be fruitful to you. So I did it, and my professor, I won't forget him, Mr. Brian Wise. I learnt radio. I worked intern in a radio station in Australia, and after that came back to India, did nothing because I didn't want to run behind an elephant or a bison, so I was just generally sitting at home till a phone call came. One of my friends called me up and said they wanted a few more presenters, or RJs as we call it today. So I gave my voice. They liked it. I don't know why, but they liked it. And by 4:30, I was given a call saying that I needed to do a show at 7 o'clock because the RJ who was supposed to do that show had a health problem, so I needed to fill in. So I went in and I did that show, and it's been now 12 years since I've been in radio. I've never, ever given up that medium. What is happening in radio today, it's very immature, where you have a song playing, you have a very silly contest about, who's the actor of this film, and then you get some cap or some t-shirt or something. So this is at a very, what would I say, a very immature level of radio. So there's a lot more which can go on radio, which is not there in India today. Radio is a very challenging career. You don't need necessarily, you do not need to be just a presenter in a radio station. You can be a producer, you can be a copywriter, you can be a sound engineer, you can be a celebrity coordinator, you can be a program coordinator, you can be a regional programming director. There are just immense opportunities. Your communication skills must be 100%. You have only 5 seconds for you to impact the listener, because he or she, if she's driving or at your home, can just flip the tuner and go to the next station, and there you've lost your listener. Okay, I want to join radio. What's the money's like? In the days when we started, we used to get paid 125 rupees. A CD used to cost us about 599 rupees, so there was just no equation there. But we did it for passion. So if you want to join the medium, do it for the passion, because money flows. Now, coming to the point as to how much money will flow, well, a beginner can take home anywhere between 10 and 15,000, and if you have the experience, you can touch anywhere between 5 to 6 lakhs a month. So go ahead, scan the net, browse the sites, figure out which college has radio studies, and just go for it. This is not a law book. This is actually a lot of mails, close to about 17,000 mails that I have received from people who listen to me. I would say I wouldn't call them fans. I would just say people who are my friends, people who listen to me. And this is a compilation of all mails from different kinds of people, also from celebrities who have heard me, and I keep this for my posterity, because when I grow old, I can tell my son or my daughter that, when I was young, I did a little bit of radio, and this was my medal. How different is radio presenting and being a voiceover artist? Well, not all radio jockeys are voiceover artists, and not all voiceover artists are radio jockeys.
A gift of nature, a product of Girijan's labor. It's packed with health and nutrition. In red and white, it is available in all departmental stores.
Very few can do both. I don't know whether that's a plus point or whatever, but I can do both, and I've been doing that for close to a decade. Now, in radio jockeying, it's about your personality. It's about what you bring to the table. It's about you being yourself, talking to the listener, making a friend. But in a voiceover, the difference is, supposing I was to do a Ford Fiesta ad or a Girijan Rajma, as you've just seen it, I have to be according to that product.
Wake up to the aromas of the South, the southern aromas of the Residency Towers, Srinagar.
I'm not myself. So I need to modulate, I need to throw my voice, I need to understand who the ad or the commercial or whatever is going out to, and that's the line that an artist needs to draw. Being a good radio jockey, well, be yourself, be a good person, have a nice personality, keep your attitude on air. In that, I mean, when you're in the studio, give all that attitude that you need to do. Be wacky, be wild, be weird, be bizarre, be, spontaneous, that's all right. But as long as it's on air, because, some people, I know many hosts who've carried on that attitude from on air into off air, and somewhere down the line, it's not been taken well. So, this is a profession. Keep it like a profession. And I hope the upcoming or the forthcoming hosts which Chennai will have will understand this and make sure that this is a job. I do my job when I put the fader up and talk to the city of Chennai. I am myself. And after that, radio is all through. I'm not a part of, that gig that I was doing.
This is Rumi Nalal, basically likes a roti and dal. When she meets up with the friends, always recommend.